My name is Jessica Carter. I am 30 years old and work as a risk analyst for an insurance company in downtown Seattle. Every day I live with hypothetical disasters, floods, fires, economic crises. So when a real upheaval struck my own life, I was calm enough to know exactly what to do. It happened last Tuesday evening during dinner at my parents' suburban home outside the city. Nothing seemed different, familiar dishes on the table, small talk, drifting between work and the weather, until my mother Susan looked up and delivered her judgment in a flat, professional tone. She said I was useless, told me not to come back, and said the family would move on without me. The air froze. There was no warning, no anger, just the weight of that sentence settling over the table. My father avoided my eyes. My sister Megan stayed silent, scrolling on her phone, the corner of her mouth curling into a faint, mocking smile. My heart was pounding, but training took over. I didn't argue. I didn't beg. Under the table, I typed a single word and sent it. Okay. Then I acted first. While they kept eating, I opened the family LLC account I had built from nothing, which controlled our rental properties and the triplex we were about to close on. I revoked every permission tied to my name. No approvals, no transfers, no access. After that, I withdrew my credit, income, and identity from the pending real estate deal. The cancellation had already been sent. By the time dessert arrived, every convenience they relied on through me was gone. I stood up, wished them good night, and left quietly. The next morning, my phone showed 26 missed calls from family members and unknown numbers. Then came a voicemail from their lawyer warning of a serious problem. I laughed because the real problem was not that I left, but everything I took with me when I did. Stay with the story to see how a cold sentence at the dinner table became the spark for a complete reversal of power within a family, where the person dismissed as worthless ended up holding the authority to decide everyone's fate. And if you have ever heard a single line from your own family that made your heart sink, in an instant hit, like and subscribe now so you don't miss these intense, unfiltered real-life stories and the lessons that come only at a real cost. The morning after that dinner, my phone started buzzing before I even opened my eyes in my downtown Seattle apartment. I reached for it, half expecting my alarm, but the screen showed 26 missed calls. Mom, Dad, my brother Joshua, a few unknown numbers. They had started around 6 a.m. and kept coming. I sat up still in the same clothes from the night before and put on earbuds to listen to the voicemails while the coffee machine hissed in the background. The latest one was from their lawyer, voice tight and professional. Jessica, this is Evan Coleman. We have a serious problem. Please call me back as soon as possible. I let the message end, stared at the wall for a moment, then actually laughed, quiet, sharp, the kind of laugh that comes when something clicks into place. I typed 3 short replies to Mom, I'm safe. To Dad, I heard the voicemail, not ready to talk. To the lawyer, I'll respond in writing. That was all they got. No explanations owed. While the coffee dripped, I opened the building's security app on autopilot and pulled up the camera feed for the front entrance. There he was. My dad Thomas standing outside the glass door earlier that morning, hands shoved deep in his jacket pockets, looking up toward my floor. He checked his phone, hesitated like he was about to buzz, then turned and walked away. No knock, no call, just retreat. My chest tightened for half a second, a flash of the old reflex to fix things, but I pushed it down hard. When someone shows you how easily they can let go, you don't rush to hold on when they feel the loss. At the office in the city center, I tried to focus on my screen, but the notifications kept coming. Texts from Mom. This is a misunderstanding. Come home so we can explain. From Dad. Kiddo. Whatever happened, we can fix it. Funny how yesterday there had been no confusion at all. I scrolled past them, half expecting Megan's name somewhere in the flood. Nothing. Not one message from her. I rolled my chair over to Amy's desk, lowered my voice, and told her the short version: parents decided I'm out of the family business overnight. Her eyebrows shot up. They realize you're basically the business right. I shrugged. They left the message. I locked things down. Now their lawyer's involved. Amy let out a slow whistle. Look, I'm not telling you what to do, but when money's in play, everyone starts acting. If you move out of guilt, they'll spin it into you admitting fault. Make sure every decision is something you'd explain to a judge. I nodded. That part I understood better than anyone. Risk management was my job. I'd spent years building systems so no one could quietly move money around behind backs. Now I was using the same systems to keep my own family from doing it to me. The rest of the morning passed in a blur of spreadsheets and silent fury. Every time my phone vibrated, I glanced at the screen, saw another call from home, and let it go to voicemail. By lunch, the count was up to 32 missed calls. I didn't answer a single one. Instead, I started a new folder on my laptop labeled Family Risk File and began dragging in screenshots, the texts, the lawyer's message, the security clip of Dad walking away. Evidence, timestamps, facts. Because if this was going to turn into a war over what I had built, I was going to fight it with the only weapons I trusted: proof and procedure. A few hours later, I needed air away from the apartment, so I headed to Pike Place Market for coffee and a reset amid the bustle. The market thrummed with vendors calling out, fish flying overhead, tourists snapping photos, but I found a quiet corner table at the familiar cafe and ordered my usual latte. That's when Paul Reed spotted me. One of Dad's old garage buddies, he pulled up a chair, uninvited voice, dropping low. Jessica heard about the triplex. Rough go. I asked what he meant. He winced. Your mom and Megan were saying in the family group chat you're out because work pressure hit hard. You're stressed, not a good time mentally. He said, mentally, like it was fragile. My jaw locked. Stressed. The label again. I forced a thin smile. Rumors move quick, I said. Paul patted my arm, told me to take care, and left for the sugar station. I walked out before the anger showed on my face. Outside, the cool Seattle breeze hit as I reached my car. I pulled out my phone and scrolled messages once more. Still nothing from Megan. But she was comfortable telling extended family and friends I was too unstable to manage a deal I had designed from the ground up. This wasn't idle talk. It was deliberate setup. Sitting in the driver's seat, I opened contacts and tapped Eric Kim, the advisor, who originally structured the LLC before my parents switched to someone newer under Megan's push. Eric answered fast. Jessica, good to hear from you. Still keeping things locked down? I asked. Trying. Question. Has anyone tried altering ownership in Carter Holdings LLC lately? A pause, then careful words. Drafts came through. Your mom asked hypotheticals about a new advisor, but references to adding another family member as managing member appeared. Your signature line blank. Looked suspicious, so I held it. Nothing proceeds without you. My fingers gripped the wheel. Another family member. Megan. Anything finalized? No. Incomplete and questionable. But if someone's attempting a backdoor entry to control your LLC, you need to seal it now. I thanked him and ended the call. The puzzle snapped together, the new advisor timing right after Megan's job loss, the repeated stressed tag, the dinner ambush. This was no accident. It was a calculated move with weak paperwork and heavy emotional leverage. The anger crystallized into something sharp and focused. If Megan believed she could force me out of what I created and step in while our parents followed along, she had targeted the wrong sister for this kind of battle. I started the engine and drove back toward downtown Determination Building with every turn. 2 days later, I was in my apartment trying to regain some normalcy when a sharp text from Megan broke the silence. What do you think you're doing, Jessica? Pulling out of the deal, locking accounts, freaking everyone out. This is a mess and you're making it worse. The blame landed like a calculated jab, as if she had nothing to do with the explosion she helped start. I stared at the words, then set the phone aside and opened Credit Karma without hesitation. The app loaded quickly, and there it was. The hard inquiry alert dated the very day after the dinner from a lender I had never contacted. Unauthorized. Megan had attempted to apply for a small personal loan using my name and shared family information she must have accessed somehow. The application failed because my permissions were already locked, but the inquiry showed up bold and undeniable. Inquiry on your credit, with her name linked to the request. My anger turned razor-sharp, a cold, focused edge that cut through the haze. This wasn't just talk or drafts anymore. She had crossed the line into action. I captured screenshots of the report. The inquiry details the exact timestamp aligning with the dinner fallout, and added them straight to the family risk file folder. The collection now included the texts from Mom and Dad, the lawyer's voicemail transcript, Eric Kim's notes on the suspicious drafts, the security camera footage of Dad retreating, and this new credit alert, each item a time-stamped brick in an unbreakable wall of proof. Then I opened my email and composed the formal notice with deliberate care. Subject: official warning. Unauthorized access and attempts to alter Carter Holdings, LLC. I addressed it to Megan, copied Evan Coleman, the lawyer, and wrote clearly, "This serves as formal notice that any attempt to modify ownership, signature authority, or financial structure related to Carter Holdings, LLC, its properties, or associated accounts, without my explicit written consent is unauthorized and may constitute fraud under the Fair Credit Reporting Act and applicable state law. Do not sign my name. Do not imply my approval. All such actions will be documented and provided to legal counsel." I attached the credit inquiry screenshot as undeniable evidence of the escalating pattern. No emotion, no accusations, just dates, facts, and the precise legal consequences. I hit send and watched the confirmation pop up. The betrayal sank in deeper now, because Megan hadn't merely schemed in the background. She had actively tried to leverage my credit as her own escape route. The folder grew heavier with every addition, a silent record of how far things had gone. I couldn't help wondering how many families quietly deal with this kind of hidden betrayal over money, the kind that creeps up without warning. 3 days later, I was deep into a spreadsheet at the office when an unknown number flashed on my screen. I answered, and a measured voice came through. "Jessica, this is Stephen Lopez, your parents' new financial advisor." He wasted no time. "I'm reviewing the Carter Holdings, LLC and retirement accounts. There are discrepancies in the draft forms, references to adding another family member as co-trustee or managing member, with your name shown as approving but no signature from you." My grip on the pen tightened. He went on. "The family indicated you stepped away due to being stressed, and these changes reflect what you want." Stressed. The word echoed like a rehearsed line. I kept my tone even. "Stephen, I have not approved or signed anything since the original setup. Treat all requests as unauthorized unless you have my live signature. If anyone claims otherwise, demand written proof. You won't receive it." He paused, then replied, "Got it. I'll document that and place a hold on everything." We ended the call, and I immediately noted the conversation details in the family risk file, another layer of time-stamped evidence stacking up. Barely minutes later, my phone rang again. This time, it was Rachel, my cousin. Her voice came low and urgent. "Jessica, are you holding up? Because Megan's posts are making it sound like you're unraveling." I asked her to explain. "She's claiming you backed out of the triplex over anxiety, that you're hoarding control of the LLC, that you threatened to cut Mom and Dad off financially. Now she's posting about abusive power dynamics in families, how healing means walking away from people who weaponize money." The description twisted everything I had done into something villainous. I told Rachel none of it was accurate. She exhaled. "I figured. It doesn't match the Jessica who always stepped up. Just thought you should know what's circulating." I screenshot everything. The images arrived instantly. Megan's post with a carefully worded caption about, The danger of one person controlling family finances, and a flood of supportive comments with hearts and "You go, girl" replies. I saved each one to the folder without replying. The strategy was obvious. Megan wasn't limiting her narrative to advisors or private chats. She was constructing a public story to paint me as the problem while positioning herself as the victim. I opened a new email to Mary Ellis, the real estate agent managing the triplex purchase. Subject: final confirmation of withdrawal from Carter triplex transaction. I wrote directly. Attached is my written withdrawal from 2 days ago, including the pre-approval documents. I am not withdrawing due to work stress or any personal issues. I am withdrawing because I no longer consent to my name, credit, or income being used under the current family circumstances. Any contrary description is inaccurate. Please pause the file permanently. I copied Evan Coleman and Stephen Lopez, attached the original withdrawal form, the credit inquiry screenshot for additional context and documentation, proving my primary role in originating the deal from the beginning. Mary's reply arrived swiftly to the smaller group. Understood. I will disregard previous messages and proceed only on your direct instructions. A quiet follow-up from Evan. Received. We should discuss next steps. I closed the email and leaned back in my chair. The net was tightening, one verified fact after another locking into an irrefutable chain. The evening after that email exchange, I got back to my downtown apartment and immediately noticed the small envelope taped to the door. Mom's familiar handwriting stared back. Please read this. Inside, on plain-lined paper, she had written, "We love you. We were emotional. Please call us so we can fix this before it goes too far. Love, Mom." The note carried the same desperate tone as her texts, but the cursive made it feel more personal, more raw. I placed it on the counter without a response and flipped on the lights. My phone vibrated with a voice message from Joshua. I opened it and his voice came through quiet but firm. "Jessica, listen to this. I found something you need to hear." Then the attached audio clip played, Megan's laugh unmistakable from what sounded like an old family group chat recording. "Jessica's too stressed to handle it all anyway," she said, tone light and mocking. "Let's just add my name to the docs. She won't notice until it's done." The words hit hard, audible and unfiltered, turning suspicion into concrete betrayal. I played it again, letting the laugh echo in the quiet room. Joshua's message continued. "I saved that clip months ago when things felt off. I didn't want to believe it, but she's been pulling strings the whole time. I also have the full email chain." He attached the email's Megan's messages to the previous advisor, pushing hard to streamline the LLC by adding her as managing member. Phrases like, "Jessica's overwhelmed, she won't mind," repeated across several exchanges. No mention of me, no consultation, just her persistent effort to rewrite the structure. The chain showed clear intent, time-stamped and undeniable. My hand stayed steady as I saved everything to the family risk file. The betrayal no longer felt abstract. It was recorded, documented, impossible to spin. I opened a group text to Mom and Dad. "We need to meet. All 4 of us, including Joshua, at your house tomorrow evening. Bring everything Megan told you. I'll bring the documents. No speakerphone, no excuses. If Megan won't come, that's an answer too." I sent it and set the phone down. The note from Mom remained on the counter untouched after the first read. For the first time since the dinner, the fog lifted completely. The evidence wasn't scattered anymore. It formed a solid, irrefutable line, and tomorrow I would lay it out in full view. The anger had transformed into something colder and more certain: resolve. I spent the rest of the evening organizing the folder one last time, every screenshot, every note, every audio clip in chronological order. No room for doubt. No space for manipulation. Tomorrow wasn't about fixing anything. It was about ending the game on my terms. The next evening, I drove to my parents' suburban house with the family risk file folder thick under my arm, every page a step closer to closure. The living room felt unchanged, yet charged the familiar beige couch childhood photos on the walls. Coffee table now the stage for what had been building since the dinner. Mom and Dad sat on the sofa, faces tight. Megan perched in the armchair, tissue in hand, eyes darting. Joshua stood by the doorway, arms folded. I placed the folder down and spoke clearly. Nothing here is off the record. Lies get documented. Dad nodded. Thanks for coming. Mom's voice wavered. Megan, tell her what you told us. I cut in. Megan speaks for herself. She lifted her chin. I repeated what you said. You were done carrying us, wanted full control, tired of it all. I opened the folder and slid over the first printout. That dinner night, timestamps prove otherwise. Mom scanned Megan's rideshare at 10:15, my gas station charge across town at 10:13. Separate routes. No car conversation, I said. Megan shrugged. Maybe another time. I flipped to the next page, the only other family dinner in months. You left early. I paid alone. Dad exhaled slowly. Megan. She shifted. I was trying to help. I continued steadily, my withdrawal email to the agent time-stamped before her stressed story. The agent's pause confirmation. Stephen Lopez's note on drafts with my name referenced but unsigned. The credit inquiry from her loan attempt. Screenshots of her posts about abusive power. Then I played Joshua's audio clip, Megan's laugh, her words. Jessica's too stressed to handle it anyway. Let's just add my name. The sound cut through the room, raw and undeniable. Mom's hand covered her mouth. Dad stared. Megan's composure shattered. She wiped tears, voice rising. You're twisting everything. Jessica's the control freak, and Joshua, you always side with her. Joshua stepped forward calmly. Not this time. He opened his phone and displayed the email chain, Megan's messages to the old advisor pushing LLC additions, including a forged draft with a signature mimicking mine. You faked it, he said quietly. Susan gasped. Thomas muttered under his breath. Megan's tears flowed. I needed money for my design gig debt. You have everything, I just wanted a share. I met her eyes without flinching. That's not my problem anymore. I stood, gathered the folder, and turned to Mom and Dad. You told me I was out. I accepted it. No unlocks, no access, no future help. This ends now. Mom whispered my name, but I walked to the door without looking back. As I stepped outside into the cool night air, I felt the weight of that final boundary, the kind so many silently set when trust breaks for good. 1 month later, I stood in the driveway of the pale brick triplex on the Seattle suburb edge near the Lake Keys in hand, as the final closing document sealed the deal. I had sold the property entirely under my name, retaining every cent of the profit according to Washington real estate law, no shared ownership, no lingering family claims. The spreadsheet I controlled showed clean numbers. The sale covered closing costs, left a solid gain in my account, and turned what was once a joint venture into my independent future. The bottom unit went to new owners, the upper floors listed for rent on terms I set alone. The structure was lean, secure, and mine. Through cousins and scattered mutual contacts, updates about Megan trickled in. Her credit card balances had ballooned without restraint. Missed payments triggered relentless collections calls that started early and continued late, her FICO score dropping sharply as delinquencies mounted. Without my previous safety net, rent became impossible to cover. The landlord followed Washington lease law, 3-day notice, then formal eviction proceedings when she couldn't pay. She vacated with whatever fit in her car, moving between short-term sublets and friends' spare rooms. The grand design event ideas she had boasted about fizzled completely. Word spread that her stories consistently required a villain, and the attention she craved faded fast. Mom and Dad sent a few more texts in the following weeks. We miss you. Can we talk? Each one carrying the same quiet plea. I read them then, left them unanswered. No replies, no callbacks. They sold personal items to bridge gaps, their retirement accounts remaining untouched, but noticeably thinner without the safeguards I had maintained. The house felt quieter, routines more strained, the absence of my support registering as its own lasting consequence. I felt clear in a way I hadn't in years. The anger had burned clean, replaced by certainty. I had loved my family deeply, but love doesn't require surrendering your strength to be used against you. Boundaries aren't cruelty, they're protection. You can forgive someone without restoring access to what they once exploited. When someone declares you out, believe them, then ask the harder question: what do I stop providing from this moment forward? In the end, I was clear that true strength is setting those lines, a quiet truth that resonates in so many unspoken family tales. Thank you all for taking the time to watch the video. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like, leave a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any upcoming videos.